Hi everybody, welcome to the main garden. This is Lani from Gingerbread Garden, an avid gardener here in Maryland, Zone 7. This right here is my walk-in greenhouse that I bought from Amazon 3 years ago. It has served a good purpose for me during that time, and it has been very helpful when it comes to extending my growing season. But this year, I'm actually gonna be getting rid of this one because it's already falling apart. I bought another greenhouse that I need to set up eventually. Right here is where I grow a lot of my tomatoes. So I have a system in here that I have set up to grow a lot of them, and let me show you what they look like. So I call this one my bucket garden, and I have this one set up so I could grow vertically some of the vining plants and some of these tomatoes. So I have here 3.5 gallon buckets and 5 gallon buckets. Of course, all of them have drainage holes if, in case you're wondering. And I like using stakes to provide a support for them. So this one is actually connected with C-buds from Thriving Design. This one is stake arms. I kind of just use stakes to create the cages. They are connected, and as you can see, the plants have grown pretty well because it's at the end of the season already. They have gotten so tall. Some of them don't really have a lot of support, but I have a remesh wire right here, so I think it's easier to see it from here. But that remesh wire serves as a vertical setup, so I could grow some vining plants such as this bitter melon. Unfortunately, this year they have become stunted because there's just so much plants that are growing here. So the beans are able to make it up there and produce some fruits for me. In fact, I actually have some in there that has to be harvested. I have that tomato right there that is already starting to ripen. I have a few more tomatoes and also a few cherries right there. There's a few more way up there. So in the beginning, I have actually been using organza bags to protect the fruits, but uh, this is already end of the season and I was able to harvest quite a lot of fruits already. So I decided not to cover everything. I covered some of them, but not all of them. So this is an example. I like doing this one because it protects a lot of plants from stink bug and even deer. I remember one time coming to the garden and seeing all the fruit seed. This is an example. This is exactly why I cover my, oh, that just got away from me. But that's exactly the reason why I cover or wrap them with organza bag. I wish I don't have to do that. That's the exact reason why I do that. Ideally, you want to get rid of this whenever you see all those dying leaves, but it's not a perfect world. The garden sometimes have to wait and just let them do their thing, and I can't do everything, so I just let some of them be. I normally get rid of these browning leaves so it's not taking up any energy or providing a better airflow for the plants. But because it's life has just been busy, there's just a lot going on, so that's what happened. We just let them be. Another thing that I also practice in this garden to be able to maximize my harvest is harvesting frequently. Once I see the fruit start blushing, I harvest them. So in this stage, it has the feel and the color of a blushing tomato, so I could actually harvest that. I may just harvest this. The garden does not look perfect at all. So this one is an example. There's a lot of cracking, which is fine. The fruit is still edible, so we're gonna harvest that. I'm trying to grab it by the neck. I just have to do this so I can show you guys the fun of harvesting. There you go. This one is called Solar Eclipse, and I don't know why it's called Solar Eclipse, but it's actually quite related to Sartprolois. It's quite different, but it reminds me so much of Sartprolois from what I see in the picture. This one is one of the red noodle beans. I'm gonna be harvesting this one. This is among the flowers that I actually have in a garden. I don't have a lot of them, but this is one of them. Oh, I see a bee. I see a bee flying. This is another petunia variety. So if you notice already, there are 2 rows of buckets right there. There are 10 here, and in this side I also have 10, but I added 2 more right there so I could grow more tomatoes. So all in all, in this area, my bucket garden have about 20 tomatoes. This is how I initially have set up my garden. Eventually, I may be able to replace this with raised bed, but for now, this is my setup, and I just wanted to share that with you guys because it gives you an idea that things like these are possible. So these structures, which is created with C-bite clips, I can easily take them on and off if I wanted to, if I wanted to make changes. One of the beauty of using the C-bite clips is that I could take this off at the end of the season if I wanted to refresh the soil and or do something else in this area. I could easily take it apart and put it back if I wanted to. You can see that there's a lot of this in here. I kind of just randomly put them in there because I've used this one in the past couple of months to protect my tomatoes, and they have served its purpose. Eventually I'm going to be putting them away, and I may wash them so I could use them again for the following season. But for now, the easy way for me to put them away is by putting them right there, and I can easily grab them as well if I needed to cover or wrap another tomato fruit. But this is how I have basically grown most of my tomatoes. So in here, it's hard to see right now, but there are also stakes across the rows of cages that I have created. And the purpose of that is to provide another support for the plants, and also what it has served me at the end of the season especially is that the plants that flop down wind up being supported by these little beams. So there are some fruits that are actually just hanging right here. So there's beans and there's tomatoes. So they just kind of flop down like that at the end of the season. I also added this light for just for aesthetics, just for some light at night. I just like it. You don't have to have that kind of thing, but it's cool to have them in the garden. So this is the view from the other side of the bucket garden. I have the attached tomato cages out here, and they are the ones that are also protecting and providing support for the plant where I'm growing both tomatoes and beans and other thriving plants. So I companion planted basil to prevent hornworms and other pests. I also have sweet potatoes in here that is sprawling from the main plant right there. And that is how I grow a lot of tomatoes amongst other things that I grow in here. So I practice interplanting so I can maximize a lot of space. So I have 3 whisk barrels that have blueberry bushes. Some of them started fruiting again, and some of them are already starting to ripen. I do protect the berries as well, like this. So I have the organza bag that I wrapped around so the birds would not get to them. Because in the spring, my mistake was not covering my blueberries because those birds actually love the blueberries. So I wound up covering them or wrapping them with organza bag. This one is lavender. These are actually the plants that I grew for the Salsa Garden Challenge. And it was actually pretty cool because I harvested so much tomatoes. I even have some more that are starting to ripen. Eventually, I'll be harvesting those as well. And I have a few more fruits that are already starting to get bigger. Some of them already started blushing, and I've been harvesting them. So these are all from Park Seed, and I'm using those smart pots for these. There are also more peppers in here. So these are bell peppers and jalapenos. I'm actually going to wait until these jalapenos turn red because I want to try some sauce eventually if I'm able to harvest enough jalapenos. These are the strawberries. Honestly, I have neglected these plants and wasn't able to feed them very well. And I think they have dried out multiple times because I've not been able to water them very well. I need to pay more attention and actually cut the runners because that's my issue at the end of the season. I neglect cutting the runners because there's just a lot going on, so it happens I wasn't able to get a lot of harvest from these strawberries this year, but I'm not gonna complain so much. There's just a lot going on in the garden. Over here are my ginger. These are the ones that I'm growing this year. So these are basically growing in a 10-gallon totes, and I created a little cage like this so they would stay in one place, because I noticed last year that they were all over the place. These ones are planted in a Dollar Tree pot right there. So these are more ginger. And over here in the greenhouse, I have more ginger. For some reason, it died and produced those little ones. See, there's runners everywhere. In the greenhouse, definitely don't look perfect at all. There's a lot of stuff that I should have cleaned and transplanted and all that stuff, but it didn't happen. You know, that's life. And this is turmeric. I have a story about this, but I think I'll talk about that in the next video. These ones are more strawberries in a grow bag. This is kangkong or water spinach. I have those dwarf tomatoes right there. Those are actually perfect for growing indoors in the winter. These are more strawberries right there, and that goes straight to where I'm growing my tomatoes. I hope this video was able to inspire you if ever you are thinking of growing your own food. What I like about growing food is that it minimizes my trips to the grocery store. With the prices that's going on nowadays, it helps a lot to have fresh produce from the garden. Because I grow this food, I'm aware of what went to the food that I'm taking in. There's a lot more benefits to growing your own food, and those are just among the benefits that I like a lot. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me and joining me in this garden tour, and I hope you guys were able to enjoy it and were able to pick up some of the ideas that you may be able to apply in your own gardens. Stay tuned for the next one. There's just a lot going on, but I'm gonna try to be more frequent when it comes to uploading more videos. So I hope you guys will subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. And if there's anything that you wanted to share, if there's anything that you wanted to see from me, please tell me in a comment. Thank you and see you soon.